Pakistan's problems don't end there. They're facing neighbor troubles to the north, courtesy the Taliban. On paper, they're a match made in heaven. Pakistan uses terror as a state policy. The Taliban use terror as their only policy. But recently, things have escalated. The issue seems to be American drones. The US is carrying out airstrikes against terror targets in Afghanistan. The most important strike took place last month. A US drone took out Al-Qaeda chief Ayman al-zawahiri. He was living in Kabul at the time. The US claims Zawahiri was killed in that drone strike, but the Taliban claim no body has been recovered from the site. Now, this raises questions about the US strike. Did it really hit the Al-Qaeda chief? And where exactly are those drones coming from? The US does not have a military base in the region. Their closest one is in the Gulf. Now, if the drones did come from West Asia, which route did they take? Reports say they came via Pakistan. They flew over Pakistan. Now, this is the possible route taken by US drones flying to Afghanistan, from Dubai to Karachi and from Karachi to Quetta, and then over the border to Afghanistan. There is nothing new about this arrangement, if this is indeed what happened. After invading Afghanistan in 2001, US forces consistently used Pakistani airspace. Their fighter jets, their drones, their transport aircraft, all of them flew over Pakistan. And reports say that arrangement is still in place. Just one problem, though. The Taliban are not happy about it. They're asking Pakistan to stop sharing its airspace.
Our information indicates that the US drones are entering Afghanistan from Pakistan and using the airspace of Pakistan. We demand Pakistan not to use its airspace against us.
Pakistan has denied that charge. They say the US is not using their airspace. Neither side is famous for transparency or facts, so it's hard to say who is telling the truth. Instead, let's focus on the larger picture. Why are Pakistan and the Taliban sparring? In April this year, Islamabad launched airstrikes on Afghanistan. They hit targets in Kunar and Khost provinces. The reason? Retaliation for attacks by Pakistan's homegrown Taliban, the TTP, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Islamabad was expecting more help from the new regime in Kabul. After all, there are links between the two Taliban. Their ideology is similar. There are common Sunni links, even familial ties between the rank and file. But the Afghan Taliban have not been willing to help. They did mediate a ceasefire, but they have not been willing to use force, and that decision has irked Pakistan. So that's one sticking point. Another reason is the border. Pakistan recognizes the Durand Line as the official border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. The Taliban do not recognize that. In fact, no Afghan government can ever recognize that line, the Durand Line. They believe the Pashtun territories held by Pakistan rightfully belong to Afghanistan. So put together, it's been a bad investment. No help against the TTP, no recognition of the border. The Afghan Taliban are playing hardball with Islamabad. The question is why? After all, Pakistan is the Taliban's godfather. They supported both their conquests of Kabul. So why has the relation soured? Perhaps because it's not beneficial anymore. In the 1990s, the Taliban was a pariah. They needed Pakistan for aid and weapons. And back then, Pakistan could afford it. They were the most important American partner in South Asia. That meant a lot of military and financial aid, which is not the case anymore. The new Taliban regime has more options, better options. China, for one, is willing to invest in the Afghan economy. Russia is warming up to them. And compared to that, Pakistan is powerless. Their economy is on the verge of collapse. Their politics is fractured. And Western aid has disappeared. So naturally, there is friction. Does this mean there will be a breakup? Well, that seems unlikely at the moment. The Pakistani deep state has firm ties within Taliban factions, especially the Haqqani network. Militarily too, Pakistan holds the edge. Their capabilities are far beyond the Taliban's. So right now, a breakup looks very unlikely. At the same time, it may not be a return of the 90s. Back then, Pakistan controlled the Taliban. They used Kabul as a proxy capital. Indications are that may not be the case anymore. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.